believe me, if they want to do something, I would do it, but I'm not going to. I tend to get my hand bitten when I instigate those kind of things.
There was one quote from a Hollywood Reporter article, and I wanted to read it to you. This was about your legacy. It said, Leno, he got what he wanted most in life, but there was a cost. From Carson to Letterman and O'Brien until his final departure. His is a reputation based on conniving and mistrust, of being the guy who you had to watch out for when your back was turned.
Well, see,
relentlessly driven and with a need for approval that bordered on insatiable, Leno will always be the guy who wouldn't leave. Your thoughts?
Most of that's probably true, but
Really?
Nothing that I would do it. You know, here's the situation. I get people come to me and go, you stole Letterman's show. First of all, Letterman never had the show. Letterman was a huge success at 12:30, huge. And NBC realized if they move him down to 11:30, they lose the 12:30 spot. I was guest hosting for 5 years before I got the show. People think, oh, I got the show and I just took it away from Dave. Dave never had the show. Johnny preferred Dave, but NBC wanted to keep Dave where he was. That was a huge success. I was matching Carson's numbers, so that was a success. So he had two real successes right here at the same time. They're not going to not going to get rid of this, because if they move him down, then I go to CBS or somewhere else, and that's what would have happened. But I'm still you get Stern and all these guys still, oh, Leno stole it. I didn't.
Well, and the reality is, too, everybody wanted the same thing.
Well, that's right.
That's right. Won.
That's right.
I mean, that was,
well, the idea
isn't it
when
as simple as that?
When you don't have managers or agents, which I didn't.
Or you did, like, very back in the day.
Back in the day, but then I got rid of all of that, yeah. And a lot of that comes with when I was hiding in the closet. Because I didn't know where they were with me. I didn't know what was going to happen.
And this is when NBC is deciding whether to give Johnny Carson's show to you or Dave?
No, this is when
this is
when I had the show.
Yeah.
And whether they should fire me and put Dave in. So I go down to, it was, what's his name, the president?
Warren?
Well, Warren Littlefield.
Yeah.
Now, I like Warren. Warren and I were friends. So one day, I figure, I go down to talk to him. He's not there. And the secretary says, well, he has a meeting with everybody in about a half an hour. And, oh, okay. And he had a huge closet. So I went in and I sat in the closet. And then Jack Welch and those people came in.
And Jack's
Jack
head of GE,
and Jack is
titan of the industry.
Boston guy, old school. His thing was he didn't like Letterman because Letterman made fun of him, and so he was a big fan of mine. So Warren is having. I'd been in the closet once before. He said, for some reason, Leno seems to know what's going on. So we didn't even tell our second lieutenants, our first lieutenants, what is said in this room. All right, good. Later that afternoon, I pass him on. I go, First Lieutenant J. Leno reporting. He goes, hey, what's that mean? What's that mean? I said, what? Well, then he had the room searched with, he thought I put bugging equipment. They brought a, what do you call the material, to try and find electronics, a sweep, to sweep it electronically to figure out how I knew this. I was in the closet. It was so simple. It's stupid.
You said one of your biggest regrets was that The Tonight Show came between you and Dave.
Yeah, yeah. To this day, I still love Dave. Makes me laugh. Still the best. Still the greatest time of my career was going on with Dave.
Why?
Well, because Dave got it. When I first met Letterman, and I thought Letterman was an excellent wordsmith. He could get phrases and use them. He would always say beverage instead of a drink. And I thought, beverage is a better word than drink. I mean, comedy is the economy of words. It's getting the most interesting, fun words. Like on the Letterman show, I learned that rather than use obscenities, try and come up with something that's funnier than obscenity. And he came up to me one day and said, "How can you be so loose on stage?" And I said, "Well, how can you be so funny with it?" And I think we had a mutual appreciation of each other. I mean, I would always play to Dave's weakness. Like my favorite thing with Letterman, Dave got nervous before he went on stage, and I would always eat. So whenever I did a Letterman show, I'd get a huge meatball sandwich, and I'd wait by makeup. And when Dave came around the corner, "Oh, Dave, how can you eat that? You're going on in 10 minutes. Oh, Dave, oh, delicious, delicious," you know. And then it got to the point where I'd bring the sandwich out on his desk and the meatball would fall out and he would just be furious, you know, but mock furious. To me, that was the fun part, doing those kind of things with Dave. Being so funny with Dave, we never get to the planned material. Getting to the point where you could be table funny. You know, most comedians have an act. You work on your act and you perfect it. And then after that, you go with other comedians. You go to Cantor's or some restaurant. You sit at a big table and you do table comedy. Just make fun of something that was on TV or just laugh about whatever it might be. And Letterman was the first time I got to do table comedy. And we just complimented each other wonderfully because it was the first time in my career. See, you grow up on the East Coast, and people older than you don't call them by their first names. I always go, "Thank you, Mr. Carson." You go, "Johnny," and I go, "Oh, thanks, Johnny." I mean, I just wasn't, you know. So Letterman was the first time I could go, "Hey, Dave, nice tie. Look at this tie in Letterman," you know. And I couldn't. You couldn't do that to Johnny because that would be an affront, you know. So that's where I could really be myself. And have a good time.
Why do you think there's such a deep mistrust between the two of you today?
No mistrust. I don't mistrust Dave. No, I like that. I think he's great. No, it still makes me laugh more than anybody else. Like I say, I don't believe the good stuff or the bad stuff. So when I read the quote that you just read, I go, yeah, all right, fine. Or if the quote easy, it said, "Leno's the greatest comedian ever lived," I go, "No, fine, thank you." So I just try not to, you know, the old adage, never fall in love with a hooker, you know.
I was talking to your executive producer who told me it would bring him no greater joy in life than to see the two of you reunited.
Oh yeah, I would like to do that. I think, I have no problem. I think Dave might be awkward.
What do you think has to happen?
I have no idea. Believe me, if Dave wanted to do something, I would do it, but I'm not gonna, I tend to get my hand bitten when I instigate those kind of things.
How so?
Well, it's just, well, I'll tell you a story. When Leno had his heart attack, somebody from the show called me and said, "Listen, please don't say anything about Dave's heart attack on the air." I said, "Well, I just want to say, I hope you," "No, please, Dave doesn't want you to, please." Well, all right, okay, I don't say anything. Okay. 2 or 3 weeks later, I read the New York Post. The only person who didn't say, "Give Dave good wishes," was Leno. I realized, I walked into that. I just got set up by that. And I just said, oh, okay. And then, of course, everybody jumped on that stern. Everybody, "Oh, Leno." No. So I was like, all right, I learned my lesson.
When the Conan period was going on, and he said in his monologue, and I just want to say to the kids out there watching, you can do anything you want in life. Yeah, unless Jay Leno wants to do it too. That got under your skin, right?
Well, here's the thing. Zucker comes to see me, and he says, "Conan wants you out." "Oh, what do you want you out?" "They want the show where he's got, he had, what's his name behind him, the big agent, and they want you out." I said, "Well, I got a 5-year contract." "Well, yeah, but after that, you got to go." "Is that what you want?" He goes, you know. And so we were talking about it. So I said, "I'm still number one." And then one of the guys at Zucker said, "We want what's above number one." I said, "What is that? What is?" And then they realized how stupid that sounded. I said, "Guys, you want me out? I don't want to die of 1,000 paper cuts. You want me to leave in 5 years? I'll leave in 5 years. I made a big thing. Okay, I'll leave in 5 years. Okay, fine, thank you. My parents were both passed away. I don't need to prove anything at this point. Okay, fine. 5 years comes. He got the show. Zucker calls me and he goes, "I think we made a mistake." I go, "What do you want me to do here?" "Well, I don't think Conan's going to work it." I go, "Guys, you already made this deal. Okay. He said, well, how about this? How about you do a half hour at 11:30, and Conan does the Tonight Show from 12 to 1. I go, I don't care. If you think that'll work, fine. He goes to Conan. Conan says no and writes his thing. Okay, and then of course Letterman, Kimmel, Stern, they have a feeling. Leno screwed.
All hell kind of broke loose
Yeah,
during
there
that
was
period.
there was no. You know, people would say. One guy came up to me. He said, Conan had the show, and then you demanded $150 million, and they had to give it to you. I go, why would they have to give it? They fired me. Why would they have to? It doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? It's just a business. You know, they wanted both. They wanted to have Conan and me at the same time, and that wasn't going to work. And that's what happened.